This is Alex Tremble from GPS Leadership Solutions. Today I want to bring to you one of my bestest friends in the world, honestly. We've known each other forever. Rhonda Binda, Esquire. That means that she's important and extremely smart. I once heard that when someone is really good, there's no need to give them a long introduction. Because if they're good, they don't need a long introduction. And if they're not good and you give them a long introduction, that's not going to help them. So I'm going to keep her introduction extremely short, but I will rattle off some of her credentials. You worked in the Senate, you worked in the White House West Wing during the Obama administration. I believe you also worked in the State Department where I met you, where you were a senior leader there, as well as you were in Venture Smarter, correct?
That's correct, Alex. Thank you so much for having me here today. It was such a pleasure meeting you and becoming friends and developing relationships, especially around what we can do to help each other in the workplace. You've been an incredible author and coach, and I love that you're venturing into video. So it's really just a great pleasure to be here to chat with you and your audience.
So if I can just start off with a basic question. How did you get to where you are now? What's your story? What was your journey?
So, like many other people who are, climbing the career ladder, mm-hmm. We have a lot of help. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of mentors. We have people that we can look up to, that we could emulate. We continuously look to learn. Mm-hmm. So that's probably why I was the annoying kid in the class. And teach others, because teaching others, you learn yourself. I've recently started as an adjunct professor in a predominantly Black institution in New York City.
Wow.
And it's just been so rewarding to be able to go back home and to share what I've learned working abroad and working in Washington with the next generation that's going to fix all of our problems. So also, of course, sharing those important skills about being a leader, networking, and finding mentors. It's not easy. I think that if I knew those skills earlier, mm-hmm. I probably could even be in a different place right now.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I've developed them from learning the hard way, trial and error. But really, you don't have to if you have a mentor all the time.
Yeah.
Because if you're willing to take advice and learn from others' mistakes, and it's a way to kind of shortcut the system in a sense. And I've also been the recipient and participated in many programs that really helped to, I would say, boost my my network mm-hmm. and support mm-hmm. My dreams and my aspirations. And so that's why I've also now created mentorship organizations.
Oh wow!
That specifically, try to give back, not only in the same way that I received, mm-hmm. but filling some of the gaps where I think we can even do better for the next generation.
When did you get a mentor? How did you know? How did you know that you needed a mentor, actually?
Well, working around really inspiring and great people, I've had the lucky opportunity to do that. At first, I didn't know that, and I'm sure the people that I admired didn't know that they were my mentors, because I'd sort of just try to copy what they were doing. Whether it was taking a certain program, learning the skills that they had that I admired. So at first I sort of did it from afar because I didn't realize the value of it. Mm-hmm. And the more that I got involved in networks, I had opportunities to volunteer and show value to some people that were eventually became my mentors. And it's a two-way street. So it's not just being able to absorb what you can from them. You also have to learn to somewhat manage up in the mentor relationships to make them know that the time that they give you is valued mm-hmm. by you, and then also add value to them.
Yeah.
So it really has been accidental because I didn't realize the value as early as I probably could have. Mm-hmm. And I started volunteering on for organizations and on campaigns. Started helping out particular people that I think once I started adding value to their organization, they were offering to mentor me.
Yeah.
And so I backed into it in a way, luckily, mm-hmm. And was able to develop, by an accident. Now, when it's done on accident, mm-hmm. it's maybe not always the best fit
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so being a little bit more proactive now, later in my career, I've been able to find folks with the qualities that I really want to emulate, and then ask them and pursue them more actively rather than sort of falling into the accidental mentor relationship, which, as I said, may not have been the idea of my mentor to begin with.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was always, as a woman, always very attracted to working for driven women.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if they were not officially a mentor of mine, in my head, I would try to learn, because I understand that our paths could be a little bit different than the average path.
Yeah.
So it's been very interesting to me, and I think that it's over the time I've also learned it's important to have men and women mentors. And so that poses another set of difficulties in terms of just cultural. Being able to relate to a male mentor that might be into sports, more than, art, for example.
But you're into sports.
But I'm into sports.
You used to play football, right?
All right, okay, I was a kicker.
I thought you were going to say like a fullback or something like that. But so you've shared some really, really important nuggets. The first, I heard you say that your mentor didn't have to necessarily know that they were your mentor. I heard you say that you can learn or be mentored from afar. You can probably, and let me know if I'm saying this wrong, that you can be mentored by someone via books, via just watching them in the office. There's many different ways to be mentored by someone, but like you said, it is important to have a mentor, right?
Yeah, I find it has built my confidence over time to have more of a direct relationship. And I also find that people, like, in the same way that I'm teaching now, do want to share their knowledge, and after a certain point want to give back.
Yeah. Well, then you made another point. You said that the mentor, you need to manage up. You need to find ways to also provide value to your mentor. For someone who hasn't made it, quote unquote, to the top, what do they have that they can provide value to their mentor?
Well, I think actually the younger you are, I think in this day and age, you probably provide way more than you can imagine, because you're growing up in the information age where you have just more and more knowledge.
Yeah.
The younger you are in this world, because of technology.
Yeah.
And you're connected to what's fresh, what's new, what's innovative. So for the more seasoned career professionals who may, be in a certain routine and not have the same energy, trust me that there's a lot to offer. I mean, I see this again from teaching, that I learn a lot from the perspectives of my students, and I feel that every year the answers to the challenges, whether it's, I teach international affairs some semesters that have some of the most difficult and tractable issues you would think. And in technology, we're talking about ethics around artificial intelligence. These are very difficult issues. I sometimes see that the younger groups, comparing college to high school, actually have the more innovative and positive answers, because over time, I think that there's certain you become used to certain procedures, and you're ingrained in a certain way. So please don't underestimate the power of the young mind.
So I'm not sure if you noticed what she did here when she said more seasoned. You see how she looked at me. See, I dyed all my hair, so you don't see no gray in here. But I know you were looking at me. So thank you for that nugget. You also mentioned a third. You said that you need to be intentional. What about identifying the type of mentor that you'd want and need in your life? I think that's really important. That's something I'm always preaching on, is the importance of being intentional. How would you go about being intentional and finding a mentor? What does that process look like to you?
Well, so, as I said, I didn't start off with knowing how important having mentors were. And so I had the accidental mentors, and I sometimes mistook my boss for being a mentor.
Yeah, that's a very careful one. Your boss shouldn't be a mentor, FYI.
So sort of by default. And so, yeah, I do think that you need to look at someone that shares similar values, that has perhaps a similar mission in their career that they've already fulfilled, that you are thinking about following that path, and develop those relationships. Also, as I mentioned, it could be outside of work, not just in your office, because there isn't always a situation that that can be addressed, by some people that are within your suite. You want to make sure that you can have some independent advice.
Yeah. I think, you're dropping so much gold right now, and I hope you're all catching this, because she's sharing so many powerful tidbits of information, and I think I completely agree with you. When you're looking for a mentor, yes, you want someone within the organization, but you also need someone outside the organization, because they'll just provide a different context when you're asking them questions and so on and so forth. Is that something you would agree with, or what are your thoughts?
I would definitely agree with that. I think that it's important to, like you said, perhaps have both. And, it's not always clear who you can fully trust sometimes within an organization, because everyone also has their personal and career motivations as well. And so develop their relationships, have friends, but also, seek mentors outside. That can also share the journey with you as you move through different positions in your career.
So, thank you so much for watching part 1 of the Rhonda Binda Esquire interview. To watch part 2, please click right here. And as always, stay strong, stay positive, and click that like button. And stay moving. See ya.